Hello everybody, and welcome to a special series of videos about I'm not doing a Druid's Dozen this week, but what I am going to do, I'm doing a little kind of thing for primarily aimed at the few people out there that have actually heard of Alien Stashy. They're my band, I'll mention them occasionally, and basically I'm going to do a kind of guide as a Christmas present to our supporters, a bit of a guide to our 3 albums. Do one each day over the next couple of days, so yeah. So this goes out to Thomas and Susie, Luke, Nikki, and everybody else that comes and sees us, and we're missing you because we've not been playing live for a while. And basically, today we're going to talk about this. This is our eponymous debut album from 2006. Now, the band were formed in back in 2002, and yeah, we had a kind of fluid lineup changes and that. And by the time this album came out in 2006, well, by the time 2005 came around, sorry, we had stabilised the lineup at, there's Dave Seaward there on lead guitar, there's Brice Harvey on drums, AJ Pearce, who's still with us on bass, and me, who's still with us on guitar and vocals. And in case you're interested, there's how it folds out. Just a booklet, very basic inner sleeve. My artwork on the front, not my best alien artwork, although it is the birth of the E.T. Proby, our alien mascot. That was his first appearance. He's developed a long way since then. Yeah, I always wanted a kind of decided to have this kind of Eddie type, Eddie Mr. Pumpkinhead, you know, kind of mascot. E.C. Probe is it. Anyway, 2005 came along, and we decided to set up our own rehearsal rooms, and we did it. We set up a place called the old Bart Spice Factory in Bristol, and we went in with a friend of ours, a guy called Mystic Jim Cogan, who wanted to set up a recording studio. So basically, we rented a chunk of this old factory and installed a rehearsal room come recording studio, and part of the deal was that James would record our debut album as while he tested his gear, so as he set the studio up. So well, we were all cracking, and when the studio started recording. Now, there were 2 big problems with the studio. The first one involved the fire brigade. Basically, we didn't realise, but the building's owners at the time had let it run down a bit. Well, we knew they'd run down a bit, we didn't know how far. And basically the fire brigade did a spot check on the building one day, sealed it all up. We went to get out a couple of days later, we went up there to get our gear out to go and play a gig. Couldn't get access to the building because of it had been sealed by the fire brigade. We had to get the police to escort us in to remove our own gear later at the gig. And it also kind of was about 3 months before the studio was usable again. So it put a 3-month kind of kibosh on recording the album, which we were about halfway through at the time. The second one involved our keys player, Gaz Turner, who, lovely bloke, is an old mate of mine. He still is a mate, and but basically it was a bit of a square. You know, he didn't drink, he didn't do any drugs or smoke or anything like that, didn't gamble, very much a family man. And when he's in a band with kind of a group of stoner hippies, you know, he was beginning to feel a bit out of place. So in the end, he just turned around and said, look, he goes, you know, I don't really feel any kind of personal connection with you. He goes, and as much as I'm liking the music, you know, I think I want to step down. He agreed to finish the album, which he did, and after he left us, he went off to become the director of a brass band. He's a great trumpet player, so that's understandable. So anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you through these, do a quick track by track rundown of the album, and you know, and so you can have a guide. I'll put links to where you can download it in the description, so you can download it, you can have a listen, or you know, stream it, whatever. You know, don't have to buy it if you don't want it. Now, first track up, Seven Sisters Road. Now, when we wrote this album, we write differently these days, but this was very much the days we had 2 songwriters in the band. There was me and Dave. Sometimes we'll collaborate with one of the other members of the band, but normally it was me and Dave bringing completed songs to the band to record. So yeah, just kind of, hence the reason I'm going to tell you who wrote what on this album and not on the others when I do them next couple of days. Anyway, first up, Seven Sisters Road. I come from London. Used to kind of go to Seven Sisters Road where the buses from when I was a little lad in Enfield used to go down the road, and you know, it's sort of look forward to going to Seven Sisters Road past the Seven Sisters pub, because you knew you were nearly at London where the cool things were, like the museums and the castles, etc. You know, when you're 6 or 7, that's big. Anyway, I went back to London not long before I recorded this album, just to visit some friends and family, and ended up on a bus going down Seven Sisters Road. Had the song came into my head about a bloke trying to go into work, getting bored with all the series of cars, going to work in a bank, and basically he kind of is a bit of a sci-fi fan, so he starts dreaming about being a sci-fi hero. This is a song about escapism. You know, we still do it live, and as I written in collaboration with Gary Turner, that one. Still part of our live sets to this day. Not every gig, but it comes out quite often. Next up, Easy Road. Dave was a fantastic blues player, and you know, this was a song that predates Stashed In. He brought to us and said, "Look, can we do this one?" We said, "Yeah." For many years, it was our, well, for a good few years, it was our set opener. Great blues number. You know, something else that's on this that we don't often do these days is harmony vocals. There's harmony vocals on it, and yeah, just a cracking little blues number. Again, when Dave left, like most of his material, we couldn't really get it to work, so we kind of stood down on that one. Next up, Three Dogs, or as it's credited on the album, Tree Dogs. I'm a bit dyslexic. I did a typo on the art when I was submitting the artwork to the pressing plant. I did ask the other guys to check it, but they all missed it. So hence the reason why Three Dogs is now Tree Dogs on here. Maybe they're Irish. But anyway, Three Dogs originally wrote for a poetry slam, and it's a kind of urban, well, the lyrics were kind of urban, kind of horror story about a people that kind of in a dysfunctional family who's they look after their dogs better than they look after each other. It turns into a murder-suicide pact, and the dogs eat the corpses. Yeah, quite a gruesome little tale. Still a bit of a favourite. People call out for it live at gigs. You know, get people shouting "Three Dogs," and yeah, it's fun to play. You know, there's a fantastic piece of Brice Harvey drumming on the turns, and yeah, great little track. Okay, next up is quite a track called Sidelines, a kind of funky number, which I don't actually play on this album. A little bit of backing vocal, but that's about it on this album version. I can't play funk guitar, Dave could, and so we let him go and play funk, and yeah, the result is Sidelines. Great track. Dave has got his new band, the Hot Wires, and they brought out an album a few years ago where he did a reworking of Sidelines on it, and it's a great song. But it's one that we've never, primarily because of my inability to play funk, we never got to work live, so I didn't get that many live outings even when this album came out, but it's a great studio track. Next up, another Dave pen number, doesn't have to be this way, and it's the only Dave Seawood pen track that's still part of our live set, on and off. It's a kind of punky number. It's got hints of the Undertones, it's got hints of the Jam, maybe hints of the Boomtown Rats in it. It's an in-your-face song about someone that's kind of pissed off with modern living. He doesn't want to be, everything's a competition. He doesn't want to buy a new kitchen, and so he packs up his bags and walks out the door. It's doesn't have to be this way. Oi, oi, oi. Brilliant track. Still goes down well live to this day. And I said, it's one of the Dave, I mean, I love singing it because Dave does vocals on here. I do vocals on it live now. And, you know, love doing it. It's a great song. And, yeah, brilliant. Well, I think it's a good song. Okay, next up we have Rat in a Maze. Now, song that I wrote about urban renewal. There's I live in Barton Hill, and at the time of writing, we were undergoing a £50 million Tony Blair government, sort of like regeneration scheme, and the idea of this scheme was that it was going to be locally led. Locals knew what the problems were, where to direct the money, etc. However, the experts that were parachuted in by Whitehall to do this, didn't thought they knew. Hey, we've been to university. You're just from a council estate, and basically everything became a battle. Well, put it this way: there's a reference in here to sitting beneath the one last tree. We had a lovely park throughout the estate. They cut down, they wanted to remove something like 200 trees and concrete over the whole lot to put up car parks and houses. And we fought against that, and we got a compromise solution. But everything was a battle. And the song "Rat in a Maze" talks about my frustration. Well, not only my frustration, but my friends and neighbours' frustration about dealing with these government experts. And also there's a little bit of a kind of sketch part at the beginning that's where me as a politician is addressing a vast political rally. The vast political rally involves about 3 people. It's Dave, his son Dan, and I think Brees and James, the producer. Multi-tracked, I did the political speech, I just multi-tracked the kind of cheering and jeering responses. So came out quite well, that one. And also on there's a sax player from producer James Cogan's cousin Nicola. She laid down a sax solo on it because we fancied having some sax. Yeah. Okay, after that we got a track called "Watching You," a Dave Seaward pen number about CCTV culture. Dave was kind of very, I'll say it's conspiracy theorist, but he could be quite aware of kind of what they are doing to you, kind of thing. Don't mean that as any kind of insult, but it's a very Dave kind of thinking way. Other tracks on our earlier thing, he did the Freeman EP. On the Freeman EP, there's the track Freeman. But anyway, that's on the Farmyard EP. There's a song called Freeman, which is about free men on the land, and etc. But anyway, you've got it's a cracking track. I really shame that we can't get with the modern lineups of Stashy. We can't really do it justice, so we don't play it live anymore. But it's heavy. It's got hints of Uriah Heep and Atomic Rooster to it. It's the play out has got a kind of not only has it got dual vocals on it, but it's got dual guitars as well. Me and Dave are kind of dueling vocally and guitar with each other. I like it. I think it's a good tune, and it's a shame, like I said, we can't get it to work these days. Then we got Transitory Bird, which is the kind of odd track on the album. It was written by Dave. During the recording of the album, we thought, it's quite good, we'll put it on the record. It's a little song about a little story about a bloke who meets a girl at a gig, goes back to her place, and she goes and nicks his car. It's a little kind of rock and roll morality tale maybe, but and it's a good tune. It's a nice little rock and roll number. However, when we got around to doing it live, we've only done it live about 2 or 3 times, even when Dave was in the band, because it works on the studio, and it became one of the better known tracks on the album because a lot of radio stations picked up on that one and played it. But live, we could never get it to work. It was always a bit clunky. So it only ever got about 3 or 4 live outings and then drops from the set. So remains a bit of an outlier. Then you got Stone, the closest thing to a love song we've ever written for Stashy. Written with in collaboration with AJ Pearce, our bass player. And it's kind of about a guy fancies a girl doesn't fancy guy, he goes to ask her out, and she turns around and says, can we just be friends, and that kind of thing. And it's that happened to me, and I came home and wrote a song about it. And don't mind me, I'm made of stone, I'm not flesh, not blood, not skin and bone, and every road I've ever known is a lifetime long and paved with stone. It's about loneliness, etc. It's quite a kind of rocky track on here. It's slow, but it's got kind of rocky beat to it. We have done, it still turns up from time to time in our live sets, and we have done different versions of it. We've done kind of keyboard and vocal versions. We've done acoustic guitar versions of it live. It's a it's a simple song, 2 chords, very basic riff, and you know, still is a bit of a favourite of mine to play. You know, got one of my favourite of my guitar solos on it. I do the first half of the solo, Dave does the second half, and yeah, I quite still a part of the live set, still very enjoyable. Then we've got Just Another Soldier's Song, which still is a bit of an anthem live. It's the one with the fuck yous on it. This is an early version. Actually, the song itself, the lyrics date back to the very earliest days of the band, even before Dave joined, when our original guitarist Kieran Clements was with us. And then when Dave joined, Kieran never gigged. He was sacked. He was sacked before he did our first gig because he was a dick. But anyway, Dave found the lyrics in the lyric file. So can I take these home and write something with them? So, you know, they're my lyrics, they're Dave's music, and it still is part of our live sets to this day. The song's taken on a life of its own. The version on here is a bit different from what we do live. This hasn't got the big fuck you chorus on it. It's got a kind of, I think one review put it, a slightly embarrassing anti-government rant, which, yeah, I agree with, and drops it. So there are probably live versions out in the wild that are probably better than the studio version, but it's notable because it's got my mate Mark Paddy McNeely doing a saxophone, bagpipe solos on it, and yeah, giving it a kind of big kind of thing. It's one of our anti-war songs, and it developed into a trilogy called the Warriors Trilogy, which we used to close our sets with. That was until a certain People in the Sky came along, but we'll deal with those tracks on the next couple of days when I'll tackle the other albums. You know, like I said, it's taken on a life of its own, and you know, the only times we don't play it is on occasions when we find ourselves at festivals with large family audiences, because we did it the first year we played Solar Sphere. We did it, and parents were complaining that their little toddlers are running around shouting "fuck you, fuck you, fuck you." So now it's kind of not played that much at festivals, but we do it every other gig. Because if we don't, people threaten to lynch us. So yeah. Then we got Waiting for the World to End, the official closing cut on here. A dream I had where I'd probably been eating too much cheese or something like that before I went to bed. I had a dream that the aliens were invading, and I was sitting on the hilltop with my mates watching the aliens blowing up Bristol beneath me. Decided I was going to write a track. It's a very bluesy song. It's a straight kind of heavy blues riff. I woke this morning, could not believe my eyes. I'm sitting on a hilltop, I'm waiting for the world to end, kind of thing. A track that we drag out rarely. It gets the occasional live performance, but you know, it was never really intended as a part of the live set. It was originally just intended to complete the album. So great bit of Gary Turner keyboard solos, piano solo on it. Me and Dave swapping some riffs. There's Dave doing his harmonica stuff on there. Kind of heavy blues kind of song about an alien apocalypse. Then there's the hidden track. There's Bingo the Magic Pixie, which is the hidden bonus cut on the album. It doesn't even show up on the track list in there. Now, Bingo, Dave was a guy that used to kind of like taking about 30 guitars to gigs with him, and each one different tunings and different guitars for different songs. And you know, sometimes he'd be sitting there trying to retune the guitar, and you know. And one of the things I don't like about seeing bands live is when they kind of you're getting the audience grips, and all of a sudden the band are off doing tuning or drinking beer or chatting to each other. You lose the audience. I believe that as a good live band should attract and hold an audience and entertain them for the entire set, not just for when they're playing individual songs. So one day I'm feeling a bit kind of at a loose end, and while Dave's on stage twiddling his guitars, and so I just kind of started improvising this thing about a magic pixie, lives at a pixie home and drinks mushroom wine, is a good friend. The rest of the band joined in, And we decided, and so it became a regular thing. It still is a regular thing if we have any technical breaks during the, you know, broken strings or anything like that during like modern live sets. And we decided to stick it on as a bonus track. Now on this one, to make revenge for kind of me not playing on sidelines, there's the only people that are playing on that particular version is me and James Cogan, the producer. He does a little bit of kind of percussion. I'm just on acoustic guitar and vocals, and then there's that's it. My old friend, the late great Todd Dinningham, Canterbury sound legend, did a remix of it for us, which is on a B-side of one of our later singles. So yeah, so the album came out after delays. It was supposed to be coming out late 2006. It didn't actually surface until early 2007, but got some okay reviews. Get this out here. This is one that I keep from my local venue, our local magazine venue in Bristol. Sadly defunct. Well, not sadly defunct because the magazine turned into a load of crap. But 11 thick cut slices of locally farmed organic hippie rock from Barton Hills AST, crisply produced. And age worn into a 70s tour bus pannier. All vintage denim and sideburns. Dave Seabor's songwriting has a tinge of regret to it as it inflicts similar switches to the Eagles from the second track Easy Road on Nazareth on Seven Sisters Road. I wrote Seven Sisters Road, not Dave, but anyway. There are a few duds. The psycho stodge of Three Dogs, the cliche-ridden Poor Man's White Snake of Stone, and the laboured epic of Just Another Soldier's Song. But their bell-bottomed 4/4 riffing gets a bit samey after a while, despite the addition of a saxophone, a male voice choir, and bagpipes. The backing vocals add little to add discord, but the rhythm section is solid as Stonehenge, and the stadium rock windmilling arm solos are a treat for the middle-aged air guitarists everywhere. 3 out of 5 stars. I keep that one as a kind of that's probably the worst review this album got, but I keep it for just to remind me, you know, that I'm not a rock god. Sometimes, you know, when you're in a band, your ego can run away with you, and sometimes you just need a bit of feet on the ground. Like I said, the artwork by me, not my best work, but it was the start of E.T. Proby. You'll see develop over later releases. And yeah, now not long after this release, actually I think before the album actually came out, we lost Brees, the drummer. His wife went down with Egyptian flu, i.e. she was going to be a mummy, and because she was living in Switzerland at the time, he had to kind of leave Bristol and go to Switzerland to be with her. Hence, was it Kieran Clements, I think was Kieran Tully, sorry, the replacement for him. And then Bruce Morgan, who's our current drummer, came in about a year or so later. But yeah, we gigged it. We did a limited pressing of 1,500 copies, physical on CD. There are down to our last 100 or so copies of these. It's sold well, and it makes me laugh the fact that you can buy this via Bandcamp for a £5. You can get it at gigs for as part with their other 2 albums as a kind of buy 2 get 1 free kind of offer. But you know, at the time this turns up on eBay for something ridiculous like 20 quid, claiming to be rare English psychedelia. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that. That's just a kind of basic guide to Alien Stashy's eponymous debut album. Tomorrow or the day after, I'll come back and we'll talk about what is it going to be? What was it going to be? Yeah, it's going to be On a Pinstripe Planet from 2012. So have a good Christmas, and the Druids Dozen will return at some point in the new year. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye.